First off, I want to thank the guys and girls at Fanspeak for hooking me up with the premium version of their offseason and draft simulator. I'm going to be using this a lot this offseason to give you guys a bunch of 7-round mock drafts for every team. If you've never used their simulator, they've got a great free version that you can use as much as you want for any team. Use different draft boards to simulate who your team could end up with in April. I've been using the free version for years, and I'm excited to see what kind of cool scenarios I can cook up with the premium version for you all. If you haven't seen my first YouTube mock of the season, make sure you check it out. I'll put a link in the description below and at the end of the video. You guys crushed the goal of 100 likes on that video, so I owe you a mock draft with trades. Look for that to come out in the next week or so. Let's see if we can get this Browns offseason and 7-round mock draft to 100 likes also, and I'll keep churning out 7-round mocks for other teams. Also, if you're watching this video, it means you're probably an NFL fan, and if you're an NFL fan, you should probably hit the subscribe button because this is a channel all about the NFL. And while you're at it, it's probably a good idea to hit that notification button because I don't put out a ton of videos, so you don't want to miss one. Anyways, let's get back to it. I'm starting with the Browns because they obviously have the first overall pick and they have a ton of picks to have fun with in this draft. I'm going to be waiting for a few teams until the compensatory picks are handed out because those should add a few picks to your favorite team's draft. But of course, the Browns don't have any projected to come to their way this offseason, so I'm not going to worry about them. I'm also not going to do any trades in this one because I'm still getting familiar with the simulator and the trades option, and it's hard to project when they have this many picks already, so we're just going to use the picks that the Browns already have. But anyways, let's start with the Browns offseason and free agency. I have them re-signing linebacker Tank Carter and safety Calvin Pryor. Not huge moves, but simple basic ones. In free agent market, they have a ton of money, so I have them going for Rams cornerback Tremaine Johnson, Bengals quarterback AJ McCarron, Seahawks wide receiver Paul Richardson, and the Lions defensive end Ezekiel Ansah. I also have them going back after Terrell Pryor and bringing Terrell Pryor back on another 1-year deal. Tremaine Johnson gives the Browns a big #1 cornerback, but it will still be a position of need in the draft for them because they're very depleted there. After signing AJ McCarron, the Browns are in a position to pass on a quarterback in the draft, but they probably won't. McCarron would be coming to town to serve as the Mike Glennon to their Mitch Trubisky because Deshaun Kaiser isn't providing any kind of veteran presence or leadership for an incoming rookie. Signing McCarron lets teams know that the Browns are at least interested in listening to their trade opportunities if they want to possibly move down and let another team come up to grab one of these quarterbacks. But that's been the Browns' MO for the past few years, and they've passed on guys like Carson Wentz and Deshaun Watson. But this has to be the year that the Browns take their pick of the litter and secure a guy that turns his franchise around. Paul Richardson and Terrell Pryor were the only receivers that the Browns could convince to join them in free agency despite throwing tons of money at the other guys like Sammy Watkins. But Paul Richardson gives them a little bit of speed and Terrell Pryor gives them the size that they're looking for. And then in the end, the Browns break the bank for Ezekiel Ansah to come in and play opposite Myles Garrett because they've got a ton of money to spend and they're going to need to lean on their defense in the immediate future. With the first pick in the first round, the Browns select USC quarterback Sam Darnold. Man, you guys were pissed about Josh Allen being mocked #1 in my last mock draft, but I was just trying to be the messenger on that. I was mocking a quarterback regardless because I think that's what they're going to do. Josh Rosen may have backtracked on his comments about playing for the Browns, but I don't think they can bring in a guy that doesn't really want to be there. The Browns' analytics should peg Darnold as the top quarterback in this draft because he got the prototypical size, arm strength, and leadership tangibles. With the 4th pick in the first round, the Browns select Penn State running back Saquon Barkley. The 4th pick is pretty high for a running back, but ask the Cowboys if it worked out for them when they took Ezekiel Elliott. You could argue that Jalen Ramsey is a better player at a position that has a higher value to it, but Zeke translated the Cowboys into an immediate playoff team and was the engine driving their #1 seed that year. Saquon Barkley isn't turning the Browns into a playoff contender on his own, but he could have a similar impact on the Browns' offense. They spent a ton of money on their offensive line, and it deserves to have a running back worthy of running behind it. With the first pick in the second round, the Browns select Colorado cornerback Isaiah Oliver. Like I said earlier, cornerback is still a position the Browns need more depth at, and Isaiah Oliver is a first-round talent that consistently was available for them at the top of the second in simulations I ran. If Oliver wasn't available, Jarrett Alexander from Louisville was, and one of them should be the pick here before the run on cornerbacks happens. With the 3rd pick in the second round, the Browns select Maryland wide receiver DJ Moore. The Browns have now collected a future set of triplets, all from the same draft here. Corey Coleman still has a bright future, and once he can stay healthy and get some consistent play from the quarterback position, and who knows what their plan is with Josh Gordon, but I've recently developed a draft crush on DJ Moore. This is one of the best wide receivers in the draft. He reminds me of Deshaun Jackson coming out of Cal a decade ago. At first I thought this guy was just a college screen guy, but that was very ignorant of me. This guy can go downfield and get bigger than his 5'11" frame, and he makes really good plays against good coverage. I'm really looking forward to him flying up draft boards once he probably runs like a 4.4 40 at the NFL Combine. With the 32nd pick in the second round, the Browns select Alabama defensive tackle Deshaun Hand. Danny Shelton hasn't played up to his draft positioning yet, but with a solid 3-tech next to him like Deshaun Hand and Myles Garrett taking the leap in his second year, this could be a pretty vicious defensive line. With the first pick in the third round, the Browns select Ohio State offensive tackle Jamarco Jones. The offensive line depth in this draft is really poor, so I'd expect this to be the latest the Browns address it. They'll probably sign somebody in free agency just to make sure that they've got some veteran help there. Jamarco Jones doesn't wow you, but he's got the tools to be a swing tackle, and you hope that he projects as a future starter at tackle if Joe Thomas ever retires, or even if Joe Thomas doesn't come back from his injury as the Joe Thomas we've all come to know and love. Western Michigan offensive tackle, let me try to get this name right, Chukwuma Okorafor could also be an option here if he's available. With the first pick in the fourth round, the Browns could select USC linebacker, edge rusher, Uchenna Nwosu, whatever his name is, he's really athletically gifted, and where he plays in the NFL will really depend on what team drafts him. I expect him to be gone by the fourth round, but he kept showing up with the simulations I ran, so I went with him as the consensus to start day 3 of the draft. This is also a really tradable pick, so the Browns could mortgage this for a few more picks and not even have to drop down that much, so we'll see. With the 23rd pick in the fourth round, the Browns select Texas A&M safety Armani Watts. Safety is probably a higher need than addressed here, but the Browns have to be hoping that Jabril Peppers can help them out in an increased role in 2018, and or that Calvin Pryor can return to form. Derek Kindred looks solid too, but none of those guys are really as coverage safety. Armani Watts is uber athletic safety that makes up for his lack in tackling ability and physicality with his ability to cover, which could be a perfect complement to the rest of the safeties the Browns already have on their roster. Without even making any trades at this point in the draft, the Browns can afford to start doubling down at positions of great need. Even though they signed a couple of guys in free agency, they really should not get complacent with those players and still be drafting a lot of receivers. And after landing a smaller, speedy option in DJ Moore in the second, 6'5" Allen Lazard would be a great complement that would give Sam Darnold another big target. Something I noticed when collecting these images for this video was how many of these players have the Captain C badges on their jersey. I think that's awesome. Drafting a few college captains should be placed in a high priority for the Browns because they don't currently have a lot of leaders by example on the field. Obviously, I don't know what it's like in the locker room, but drafting a lot of high character players could be what turns this franchise around. Cornerback is another position the Browns could afford to double down on. Duke Dawson is a small corner but could develop into a solid nickel. If you want to check out Dawson elevate his game to the competition, check out his Texas A&M tape where he matches up really well with Christian Kirk. Mason Cole might not make it to the 6th round due to the lack of O-line talent in this draft, but the Browns needed to find a developmental interior lineman regardless, so if it's not Mason Cole, look for it to be somebody else here late in the draft. Now, I'm a big believer that teams should be taking a flyer on a late round quarterback every single year, or at least at minimum every other year. We've seen teams take 2 quarterbacks in a single draft in the past, and I think it's a great strategy to give the top pick a positional partner to go through the pro transition with. Tanner Lee will probably never be an NFL starter because he loves throwing interceptions, but his impressive arm and physical traits will keep him around as a career backup. Alright guys, if you're still watching, you're either a mock draft legend or a poor, suffering, lifelong Browns fan. Either way, I appreciate you checking this out. I love the approach of doing one team with a bunch of holes and filling them with some of my favorite players in the draft. This was a lot of fun. I look forward to doing the next team. Make sure you check out Fanspeak and do a 7-round mock draft if you get a chance. And if you do one, let me know in the comments below what team you did and who you picked, and then maybe I'll jump on that team and do my version of that next. Thanks again for checking this video out, guys. Please leave a like and a comment below, and I will get back to you in the next video.